A brain's hospital is first of its kind, unique center for brain and spine disorders. The hospital is creating an awareness program in the month of March to prevent the head injuries. The single goal is to reduce the death and disability out of head injuries and the accidents that happen in the Bangalore city. The only way we can reduce the death rate as well as the disability is by participation of everyone into this program. We must realize that head injury is preventable, and once head injury happens, unfortunately, the death as well as the disability is also preventable. To prevent the death as well as the disability, one must identify the criticality of the injury and the injured. To do that, one needs to know the basics of the first aid. We teach them as airway, breathing, circulation, disability and exposure. So this is called the fundamentals, what we study A, B, C, D, E in the school. A stands for airway, which can be easily detected by placing a finger below the nostrils. If the person is breathing without any obstruction, you will feel the hot air touching the finger. And the second, B, breathing, by checking the chest. The chest is moving up and down normally like how it happens in a normal individual. That means breathing is regular. The third important is the circulation. You can check the pulse. If the pulse is felt very well, and that means his heart is beating and the circulation is good. The most important thing, if there are injuries and scratches, you may not be able to feel the pulse on the hand. In that situation, this is the windpipe through which we breathe. Next to the windpipe, if you just push the finger down, you will feel the pulse. And this is one of the major pulses in the body called carotid pulse, and that will be the last pulse to disappear. So it is always better to check here for the pulse, so that if the pulse is there, that means heart is functioning. And you can also feel the volume of the pulse. That will tell you approximately the blood pressure is good, the blood volume is good. If the pulse is very feeble, that means some bleeding is happening somewhere. And if you notice bleeding anywhere around, that is external bleeding, and that needs to be tackled immediately. The D is the disability. Disability means the person may be conscious, may not be conscious, he may be moving the limbs, he is paralyzed. That need to be instantly checked. And if the person is unconscious, we must assume that there is an associated spinal cord injury till it is proven otherwise by taking an X-ray in the hospital. Till then, his neck has to be protected, and when somebody lifts, head, neck, trunk and the legs have to be supported at least by 4 people. No one should simply grab and put them in a vehicle and take them to the hospital. We are doing much more harm. E is exposure. Sometimes after an accident, people will be lying in a very dangerous situations. For example, broken glass pieces, wires, chemicals and other substances that can add to the further injury, either externally or internally. And he should be moved, he or she should be moved to a safe location. So these are the 5 things one need to do. And to do this is pretty simple, and everyone can learn this. And Golden Hour Academy is putting all its effort to train everyone possible in the Bangalore city. That I feel personally that everyone should know this first aid, so that you can be a good Samaritan when you see a situation like this. Already the Good Samaritan law exists in the city, but being a good Samaritan, helping an individual and calling for an ambulance, protecting the belongings, and then shifting the individual to the hospital and helping the ambulance crew to get him safely to the hospital, then you will become a real good Samaritan and a good lifesaver.